Welcome, age of vintage society. Did you know stars shine because they are extremely hot? This also applies to Hollywood stars. They are stars because they are the hottest actors or actresses at that particular time, and just like the regular stars we have in the sky, Hollywood stars dim and they die out, used and forgotten. Brad Davis was one of such Hollywood stars. All his life he struggled, fought, shone bright, and dimmed abruptly. Brace yourself. This is the sad story of Brad Davis. Was Brad Davis hiding his homosexual identity? "There goes that career," a director complained while Brad Davis ripped his shirt off and went wild at one of the Hollywood stars' parties. Brad, an actor with rippling muscles, yelled for something he should ordinarily stay away from. He wanted someone to supply him with illegal substances. The man didn't even care that his wife was there with him at the party. All that concerned the man was drinks and fun. For Brad, the party never stopped. It was interesting that the muscular actor was like this after reaching sudden fame for a film, Midnight Express, where his character sold illegal substances. His character in the movie was caught and jailed for years by Turkish authorities, but none of this concerned the actor. He didn't even learn from his film. But that was the life of a Hollywood star. What they portrayed wasn't what they were. Look at Henry Fonda, for instance, the man portrayed in flicks, the ideal character he would like to be in real life. So as Brad was having fun with the illegal substances and drinking like a fish, he was also being a complete pain in the rump for other people. One time he picked up a loaded gun and shot at his pictures. Another time, while he was at a hotel and sky high with those things he took with the needles, the actor took a dump in his hotel room and began to paint the walls with it. Talk about disgusting! And that wasn't the top of the list of gross things he did. He also went out with different women. His marriage didn't even stop him. Do you know the most insane thing? The man never hid his infidelity from his wife. He was all about the theatre, and he always craved drama. It looked like he didn't care who he offended to get his usual dosage of drama. Brad loved the thrill and the excitement that came with his life. He was a star, and he intended to live like one. However, most of all, he was lucky to have a woman like his wife, who forgave him despite the infidelity. But it looked like the wife also needed drama like her husband did. Weirdly, the wife even rationalized his cheating. She said something about him going away for longer periods and falling in love with another woman, and he comes back to her as part of his real life. Maybe his wife felt what he had with those women wasn't real, or maybe she thought she couldn't do any better than him. Well, Brad was a great father too. According to his wife, Susan Bluestein Davis, for all his wild exterior, her husband had sweetness and warmth within him. The actor spread that warmth to his daughter, creating time to spend with her and even teaching her how to sing. Even the way he came into her life in blazing majestic hotness would make it difficult for her to fall for someone else. Brad infused his wife's life with an excitement she wasn't used to. She lived a boring life before he came around, and the excitement he brought was what she needed, even if she later admitted that his intensity was more than she could handle. He came into her life at a period where she had suffered losses and misfortune. Her mother had life-ending cancer and would soon die. Her father had just died at the time too. The actor came with his royalty and brimming masculinity. Well, he wasn't precisely royal, at least not in the sense of British royalty. We mean royalty because he is a descendant of Jefferson Davis. No wonder Brad looked aristocratic in films. His wife stood no chance. Actually, no woman stood a chance with his muscles, southern charm, childlike warmth, and boundless sex appeal. So, yeah, Susan stuck around. Most women would. Also, there was that part of her that felt she could fix the actor and prevent him from straying as much as he did. She was so focused on him that she lost herself, but could you blame her? Although Susan asked herself why she endured such disrespect from the man, it didn't look like she got an answer. She couldn't have. The woman had to constantly fall in love again with the man as each time he left to shoot films. It's a miracle they made their marriage work at all. They were just too different. Susan was quiet while her husband put the W in wild. Still, they found something in each other. The two of them started together as young lovers and then became adults together. They made decisions together, and despite being so different, they became each other. So, yes, there was something both of them couldn't afford to lose, and it was the threat of losing his wife that snapped the muscular actor back to reality. So he went to rehab and learned to stay off the drinks he had become fond of using. He was ready to pick his life up, and it looked like he would, but the sins of his past refused to go away. His wayward life caught up with him and threatened to drag him into a dark hole. Did he survive it? Stick with us to find out. Brad Davis was born Robert Creel Davis on November 6, 1949, in Tallahassee, Florida. His parents were Eugene and Ann Davis, who were a source of pain for him in his early life. Eugene was a failed dentist who lost his career because of his over-dependency on drinks, and he took out the frustration of his failure on his son. Pity that despite suffering something like this when he was young, the hot actor would also develop an over-dependence on drinks and burnt out his career due to them. His mother wasn't any better too. She used her son for pleasure, and he had no choice but to be used. The only thing that kept him sane was his drive to be a performer. At 16 he won a talent contest and began working at Theatre Atlanta. Then he decided to go deeper into performing, so off he went to New York, where he enrolled to study acting at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts and the American Place Theatre. He found an agent, and it was through the agent that he met his wife Susan, a shy woman who worked for Brad's agent. Susan suggested that the actor change his stage name from Bobby to Brad, as an actor was also using Bobby. The actor made significant progress when he landed a role in How to Survive a Marriage, and he also got some parts in off-Broadway plays. The actor then starred in 3 episodes of the miniseries Roots, a series that would become a fan favourite. Then he starred in the TV series Sybil, centred around a character having multiple personality disorder. In the series he played Sally Field's love interest. The actor got cast to play John Rambo in First Blood. Everything was ready, including the director, but when Orion Pictures acquired Filmways, the First Blood project got cancelled. But it wasn't all bad news. The actor got the lead role in Midnight Express and a Golden Globe as the newest star for his efforts. The film also got him nominated for 2 BAFTAs, but he lost to Richard Dreyfuss, who won due to his display in The Goodbye Girl. The actor acted in Chariots of Fire, playing Jackson Schultz, the American track star. The film won an Oscar, and it deepened the actor's fame. Brad was wild and daring. He participated in a film that any actor who cared about their career would avoid. The actor got a part in Rainer Werner Fassbinder's Querelle, an adaptation of Jean Genet's novel Querelle of Brest with homosexual undertones. The director, Rainer Werner Fassbinder, died from an overdose before the film got released. Because of that film and others like it, people began to say the hot actor loved both men and women, a statement that his wife Susan hated, and she heard stuff like this during their relationship. While admitting that her husband knew many homosexual men, Susan denied that her husband loved both men and women, and it has made her relive some of the hurt she suffered due to him cheating on her. She knew he cheated and womanized, but she never once heard of him being with another man. Already she dealt with feelings of her marriage being a marriage of convenience for the actor, and statements like that fueled those feelings. Some outlets have even claimed that the actor didn't get a job quickly because of his preferences. His acting in the off-Broadway show The Normal Heart by Larry Kramer didn't help his case. In the film he acted as a man with HIV, and his performance was far too convincing. During that time people thought only men who liked other men could have the disease. There has been nothing more than speculation of Brad liking men. It's Hollywood. There isn't anything such as secrets. So it's strange that no one has seen the actor being in a compromising position with another man. Sadly, the man's life would be like the play The Normal Heart. The actor strayed, and when he got help and returned to the straight path, he got hit with the shock of his life. His years of using illegal substances had compromised him and exposed him to HIV. He was HIV positive, and like that, his already shaky career got its death sentence. Rock Hudson had just died around the time, and with the mess that the media caused when Rock announced he had AIDS, Brad couldn't risk it. He loved his family and would prefer to be able to continue to put good on the table for them. A declaration that he had the disease would prevent him from getting work, and his family would suffer. The actor loved his family and his career, even if he was the one that weakened it with his hands. So, to prevent the public from knowing, the actor and his wife put on an elaborate trick. But it wasn't easy. Brad had to deal with the consequences of his actions. One of these consequences was facing the wrath of his wife. His wife was furious. She was dutiful and loyal to him, and he ended up almost compromising her health and that of their daughter. The actor absorbed his wife's anger rather than get frustrated by how she became. He remained with her. He also could leave her. Pity that it took a disease that was terminal at the time to teach him maturity. Susan came around and chose to remain with her husband. She had always been patient and supportive and decided to remain so. Plus they had hope, even if it was a small one. We really didn't perceive the news as being a death sentence. The doctor told them that Brad could just be a carrier, not that he had contracted the disease. However, their hope got shattered when Brad became sicker. They didn't even think of telling anybody. Brad held on for dear life. His rage against Hollywood and being there for his family allowed him to continue. The actor wanted to prove a point. He wanted to show that having AIDS didn't mean he couldn't work. The man also wanted to expose Hollywood's hypocrisy, so he decided to write a book about his experience and how his illness didn't get in the way, and how the studio was appearing to be what it wasn't. The industry acted as if it cared by donating money to charity and funding research. However, once an actor had the disease, they were cutting the actor off. The actor knew the kind of industry he was in, and how it had a way of sniffing secrets out, so he had to make a drastic choice. He destroyed his friendship with other Hollywood stars as he felt they could see something that could lead to his secret getting out. It wasn't easy. Brad and his wife became isolated, but didn't want it to affect their daughter. They wanted her to have as usual a life as possible, so they celebrated her birthdays and still ensured she had playdates. His treatment continued. The doctors had to come home to treat him, and it was done under secrecy. The actor paid out of pocket for his doctor's calls and didn't even use his health insurance. Doing this was brutal on their finances. Susan had to work herself to the bone, and Brad had to take any work he got. But you know how an actor's life is without job security. Getting medicine was even another problem on its own, as they couldn't get it by themselves, so they had to do a roundabout method of getting the drugs the actor needed. They were contented with leftovers they got from other people that had the disease and had died. If Hollywood hadn't been discriminatory, the star might have enjoyed life better. His wife also revealed that he would have gotten earlier treatment. Also, we believe if he had more public treatment, he would have benefited from insurance too, and their finances wouldn't have become so battered. Despite doing all they could, the actor's health grew progressively worse. He bled internally, and his mind began to weaken. It reached a point where he couldn't just proceed any more and wanted to die. The man took an overdose of sleeping pills and didn't wake up. He did this under the watchful eye of his wife, who watched as life left her husband at the age of 41. His wife didn't like talking much about her husband's death, and it's not so hard to see why. It took her a few years to get over him. The woman only began dating after 4 years. Even what happened during her first date with another man was tragic. Just a few moments to her and the man going out on their first date. He died. Eventually she found someone too, but has admitted that she doesn't think she could be with someone that required so much devotion as Brad did. The actor would forever be etched into her mind. She didn't think the time she spent with him was tragic. She refused even to call his life tragic. Susan completed the book for her husband and helped create a path for Hollywood to evolve past what it was. She believed her husband's death and the book would have had more effect if he was an even larger star, but their book played the part. Sadly, it needed the death of a passionate actor to help open people's eyes to Hollywood. Quite tragic, isn't it? But the show must go on, and we've got an incredible story to tell you next. Get ready to learn about the voice Hollywood tried to silence. Marni Nixon's story.